Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And we are here bringing you a very exciting and a very in-depth look at hormones, because they are a big part of everybody's life, and unfortunately they are very unbalanced for a lot of people. So the name of this show today is called The Delicate Dance of Balancing Your Hormones. We are going to discuss the natural things you can do to help that. We are going to discuss the bioidentical hormones, if that's a good choice. And Dr. Lewis is going to fill in all the in-betweens and things you should know, and why the hormones do what they are doing, and why we're getting to this stage in our life where all of this is so critical now, which is very different from, 30, 40 years ago. You didn't see all this, but there is a definite problem with hormones for men and women. And so, they just came out, I think today, with a thing that Beyonce's dad had breast cancer. So you never heard of that in a man before. So Dr. Lewis is going to help us understand what is going on and why is all of this so prevalent now. So Dr. Lewis, could you educate us a little bit about what's going on with the dancing of our hormones?
It's a mess, and I can't dance. By the time I drink enough, I will dance. I'm certainly too drunk to dance, which is one or two drinks. I'm a pretty light drinker, but we have an environment full of environmental estrogens, or endocrine disruptors, ED, which can also stand for erectile dysfunction. One of the things, because we are so estrogen dominant, that's at plastics and pesticides and things you'll hear more about. That's why we have so many men with low T, or low testosterone, and women with too little progesterone and too much estrogen. And there's a lot of things that you really have to consider to do it correctly, to be functional in your detoxification. And that's why I tell people, I said, I don't care how smart you are, you really need some help. And when I am not at my best, I do not try to think my way out of it. People that Google all the time get the worst results than people that listen. There's too many people trying to go on their knowledge rather than their faith. And people that say, okay, I trust this person, boom, they get much better results than people that say, well, yeah, but I'm going to check, and recheck. And I'm kind of in a little bit of a mood, because last 2 or 3 days, we've had people waste our times that aren't really doing anything. We call them ask holes. They ask and ask and ask and ask, and then never do a thing for themselves. Or they say, well, I'm taking fish oil. And I say, well, do you have an ex-husband? Yeah. Was he bad to you? Yeah. And you think supplements are the same? No, they're not. So if you've been in the fitness protection program, you kind of need us to help you get more fit and get more healthy. And it takes consistency. I had this discussion with Janet the other day. She says, oh, I just love you so much. And it's like, yeah, is it because I told you I loved you once, or I did something for you once? She says, she thought about it, and this bemused look, and says, well, no, I think it's because you're consistently doing little things, all the things I do, but it's consistency in health too. It's not that you took a round of supplements. It's the ones that are very, very, very consistent. I talked to a guy yesterday, and one of the wisest things I've heard recently in this slew of people that are asking dumb questions and not doing anything, and frankly, it's because we only have so much time, and we want to spend it with the people that are actually doing something. Which there are many of you out there, so thank you very much. Yeah, most people are absolutely wonderful, and I'm sorry I'm getting caught. It's about time for me to fire one or two people. So this guy says, well, why would I even go on Google, and why would I do this? He says, you've researched it, obviously, and we get responses from all kinds of different countries. We get referrals all the time. So thank you, folks, for doing that. It makes a big difference in someone's life that you can refer them to someone you trust, and inevitably they trust us, and they get better results. So I really appreciate it. It does make a big difference. These little steps we do in life can change the lives of someone else. I've been reminded of that recently. Some of the things I did that I totally did not remember at all. And they told stories about, well, you did this and it da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, wow. I'd cry if I got into it. It's stuff I didn't even remember. The other thing is I have a couple of eye doctors up in Indiana that are just sweet as they can be. I didn't know they were eye doctors for a long time, and they like eye jokes. So to these docs, dedicated to you, no one ever injured their eyesight by looking on the bright side of things. So remember that, folks. And there's not enough room in your mind for worry and faith. So you have to decide which one lives there. So let's get into why we have such horrible hormonal issues. And the root of the problem goes back to too many toxins. There's at least, many, many hundreds of studies or research studies that document the threat of these endocrine disruptors that I talk about, like pesticides and plastics. That's out of Journal of Toxicology and many, many others. You've heard estrogen replacement can lead to breast cancer. And, if you need replacement, that's fine. We can do a whole lot naturally. But sometimes people choose to do other things. And it's like, well, if you're going to do that medically, that's fine. I got no problem with the medical profession. But you need to make sure you're increasing detoxification pathways. If it's the 4-hydroxy or 16-hydroxy, you're way, way, way more likely to develop cancer than if we increase the ratio down to the 2-hydroxy. Don't ask me any more questions because, geez, I hated chemistry. I understand how to practice it, though. One of the reasons these estrogens, if you have estrogen replacement, can lead to a much increased rate of breast cancer is because estrogen can be more damaging if it's not disposed of by the liver. Well, it goes into all these hydroxy pathways. You have to watch the liver. You have to deal with the probiotics. And you have to continually do that. It's consistency that really wins. And I have a lot of consistent patients that are just happy as they can be. And it's like, well, you did the work. Estrogen, if it's 16 or 4-hydroxy, it has more. It can promote more tissue proliferation, which would be cancer. It's from Journal of Epidemiology. I can't even pronounce it, but I can read it. And it's also from Journal of Cancer Research. Let's get into low testosterone for a minute. Although most women have low testosterone, and they need it for their get up and go mentally, for their physical energy, and for their sex drive. But let's talk about men. All right, testosterone. One of the problems is fluoride. Well, no, fluoride's good for your teeth. Bull. Start thinking for yourself and then find somebody that can lead you. And I've gotten a lot of compliments lately about, oh my God, I just love your podcast. And it's, well, I'm not exactly a polished professional. I'm just a good old country boy that's pretty educated, have an incredible memory, thank you. And I just tell it like I see it. So there's studies that show that fluoride can damage the heart and other organs, like the brains, the kidneys, and your hormones. It interferes with the metabolism of testosterone, which think, hey, that's why some of you need Viagra. And they used to complain about Viagra being $10. And I said, well, it's cheaper than dinner and a movie, so, go have a good time. But in the meantime, you can do things to get healthier. And it's not diseases of aging. It's diseases of bad chemical accumulation. Yeah, let that roll through your head for a while. Chlorine is another big deal. Glyphosate, I won't get in that too much today, maybe. So think about it. Fluoride, you get your dental treatments there, and they say, well, swish it around your mouth, but don't swallow it because it's poison. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's going to absorb some there, and then you have it in your water, and then it dumbs you down. That's some of the molecules of Prozac is actually fluoride. It does dumb you down some. So you have to think about it. And here's another thing that your doctor never checks, and I don't check it either because I know it's there. It's easier and less expensive just to treat it. Cadmium. Now, you get cadmium from a lot of different places, the cadmium batteries. Welders are much more prone because they're inhaling those welding gases. Smokers, I don't know why anybody would smoke. I know a lot of functional medicine doctors like me that won't even take you on if you smoke. I will, but I'll tell you, you're still going downhill. I'm just going to slow it down some. Certain fabricated metal products are full of cadmium. and these people that have 4 times more prostate cancer compared to the average guy, and the average guy has too much anyway. The problem is it has about a 25-year half-life, which means your exposure may be 20 years before and you don't ever make that connection. There are things that you can and should take. We've got a formula that we absolutely love, and some of the old men like it. And people say, well, what's an old man? I said, anybody 15 years older than me. It's called Prosta Ease. E-Z. And the reason I like it, it has the right kind of calcium. It has phosphorus, it has zinc. I'll get to zinc in a minute. Selenium, copper, saw palmetto, pygeum extract. That's pretty important. That's the beta sitosterol that some people advertise. Then it has stinging nettle. And the reason I like this particular formula is, that's a really good formula, but it's got rye flower pollen extract. Hey, folks, that's what they use in Europe, and that helps old men get erections. So now we'll have a flood, and we'll sell out of that. Then it has lycopene, which is a pretty good antioxidant. Good for the eyes, too, but good for a lot of things. So think about that. And you should always think of low zinc. And I tell people, well, if your alkaline phosphatase is low, it's a generalization, but your zinc is low. And guys that have high iron also have low zinc. So you need to go with higher zinc, because if you have low zinc, your body tanks up on the cadmium, so to speak. So it's not diseases of aging, it's diseases of accumulation. The second time I've said it, so I hope you will remember it. And it takes years and years and years and years to do enough nutrients to let your body detox. Okay, because the environment's still putting all the toxins in, so you only get a small net gain every day. Another thing, let's stir up some controversy right here. One of the real things that people don't they don't realize is cholesterol is absolutely crucial to every cell membrane, to every hormone receptor, the brain neurotransmitters, that's the happy hormones as I call them. You have to have cholesterol to make it. You've got to make your adrenal, stress hormones, and sex hormones, including testosterone, with cholesterol. And I'm not an MD, I'm a chiropractor, so, you make your own choice about your statin drugs, but I've told thousands of people, get the cholesterol hoax, the cholesterol lie, the cholesterol myth, cholesterol clarity, go get a book, discuss it very nicely and very intelligently with your medical professional, because everybody needs one of those. And cholesterol's not the booger bear they make it out to be. So lower testosterone. I've seen guys come in, their wife says, I don't know, he got depressed, he can't get out of the couch or off the recliner. And I said, and he lost his ability to get an erection. And then the guy perks up a little bit because he's kind of rum-dum. And I said, you put him on statins about 3 months before that happened. She said, how did you know? I said, I've seen it 1,000 times. Not that statins don't do some good things, because they can, but it's always a trade-off, and that's why I tell you, if you want to get off the statins, you have to talk to your medical professional first. Don't do it because I said so, but cholesterol is incredibly important, and I've seen people, their cholesterol get down and get happy with just giving them magnesium or sometimes copper, and it can be all sorts of things. Your thyroid, your adrenals, poor digestion. It can be a liver dysfunction. So now, did you know that men that have heart attacks almost always, not always, but almost always have low testosterone levels. And men with prostate cancers sometimes are given female hormones to actually turn off the production of male hormones. And people say, well, don't give my husband, my brother, my daddy, or whatever DHEA, because that can make testosterone. I said, if you will read that study that was done, it was 1949. It was an extremely flawed study. Turned out it involved only one man. And if you really have prostate issues, you definitely need to know what you're talking about and don't go on hearsay, because a lot of these studies are skewed to sell a drug or sell an idea that's not necessarily correct. Now we have the highest infertility that mankind has ever had. That's why we need things to get an erection. It's the plastics, it's the pesticides, the things that act like estrogen, but it's not just that as a contributor to impotence. It's also can be hidden infections. It can be a fatty acid deficiency. That's why good fish oil works. And I know there's a lot of people taking fish oil. It's like, well, most of them are not good. It's kind of like your ex, crazy as hell and harmful to you. It many times are mineral deficiencies. It's the trans fatty acids. It's the hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated fatty acids that are doing the problems. It's pesticides. And people tell me all the time, well, I'm not in pesticides. I said, if you drive down the road, you are. We've got it in our polar bears, so don't think you're immune to it. We watch them spray the glyphosate on the side of the road, and I wasn't going to get into it, but you know what glyphosate does? It goes in and makes your cell membrane so inflexible it can't let out the toxins of metabolism or can't let in the nutrients. And that's why in my amino acid complex, or whatever we're calling it now, we've gone through name changes, it is very, very high in glycine, because glycine eventually with time and consistency can decrease the rigidity, make it more flexible so that the bad metabolites, the waste products of life itself, can come out and nutrients can go into the cell wall. Okay, I wasn't going to get into that, but I did. So that's why even if you don't have a prostate problem, this Prosta-Ease works real well. I do a lot of testing on testosterone, and many people, they have an okay amount. Most of them are kind of low. But worse than that, they have a low percentage that's free and weekly bound. So if you have a lab test that says, oh, I have this much testosterone, and they don't tell you how much free and weekly bound, it's a useless test. So you probably ought to get on this stuff years and years before you have symptoms. I think age 40 is pushing it. I know it works too, so I don't have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
When you talk about raising testosterone, when they give you those bioidentical hormones and they don't test the free part of it and they're just putting it all out there. Right. Is that healthy for somebody to have that high level of testosterone?
It's a trade-off. Yeah, higher testosterone helps a lot. It helps their energy. Sometimes they'll lose a lot of weight. They'll have more energy and certainly better mental capacity. And some people, it's because their brain is not putting out the signal, and that's why we can test FH and FSH, or LH and FSH, to see if the brain's putting it out. But there's side effects to it. One of them's higher risk of heart attack and stroke, and amongst others. You want to elaborate on that a minute?
Right. They actually said that men that were over the age of 65 that started doing testosterone for the very first time, they doubled their risk of heart attack within the first 3 months of use.
But we died happy with a smile on our face.
Okay. Even if they didn't have heart disease prior to starting the therapy.
Yeah.
I got news for you guys out there. Women aren't really looking for that to come back in droves.
Women are not thinking about having sex with you. They're thinking about what they can eat and not get fat. That's what they're thinking about. I'm sorry. That was wrong.
But, I understand that you need to have that as well. But I think the other thing that men don't realize when you do the testosterone replacement, Where is that made, Dr. Lewis, and what happens?
In your testicles. So if you already get it from another source, your testicles just kind of hang out there and shrink up because they got nothing to do. Kind of like you're taking this testosterone to build muscles and you go to the gym and work out, but your testicles aren't working, so they're shrinking. Not that men care. It's okay if they're pea-sized.
I thought that would be better coming from you.
Did I do a good job, baby?
Great job.
Okay.
And women, I want to give them some hope out there as well, because Dr. Lewis is over here talking about things that can help men. We actually have a new product now that I am thrilled with.
And so am I.
Because, we've always talked about progesterone cream in the past, putting natural progesterone. For women, there's really not anything out there that just was like, oh my goodness, this has made such a huge difference in my life. And
we found something that works better.
The cream worked some, but literally you would have to bathe in it to get the progesterone levels up high enough to really make a difference.
And ours was much stronger than the junk you get at the health food store. It did work. We just found something that works like, oh my God.
Yes, and I've been doing that for many years.
Some of the women are embarrassing me with some of the things they're telling me.
Well, and we're looking for something different here too. I mean, honestly, women are looking for something different than what men are trying to hold on to many times.
I can't believe that. Okay, well,
the women I talk to. But anyway, the product is a liquid product. It's called Progest-Avail. We sell it here in our store. And it is an ultra-absorbed bioidentical progesterone serum. And you're thinking, well, how can you have that and have a natural product if it's made like the things that you're getting from the doctor for women? The way they get around that is it's like I said, it's a liquid. It's in a dropper. The ingredients say to rub it on your skin. That was because they have to put on topically to be a natural product. For us, for women, for me and other women, we are taking it internally because that's when it does the best for us.
Internally, that means put it in your mouth and keep it under your tongue for a while.
Yeah, thank you, because there would be people doing something different with that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, stick it in their ears or something.
Right. You take it by mouth at night before you go to bed, a dropper full of it, and it will make you sleep like a baby.
Keeps your hair from falling out. The hair gets better. Sex life gets better. They're better lubricated. And that's the things that women tell me that, okay, I'm a little turning red on this one. But
yeah, it actually helps to work to reduce excess estrogen. So it helps normalize hormone levels for women, because that's usually a big problem for women. There's a reason they have bad PMS symptoms. That's why they get hysterectomies at age 30 now. And they're getting younger and younger. They're just going, hey, I bleed so much. I have these fibrocystic tumors. I have PMS. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I'm just going to get this removed. The problem is
I had a headache. I'm going to get my head removed.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's sad to watch everybody getting parts cut off of them. But this progesterone actually helps normalize that, because that is usually the big missing piece. And you don't ever hear about that a lot from your doctor. They're about giving you more estrogen. Well, the bad estrogens are the ones that were the culprit to start with, and then they dump more estrogen on it, and the body doesn't know the good from the bad to differentiate it, so it just stores it all as fat.
And I know how estrogen can be very, very useful, and when your doctor does that, I'm respectful of that, but we have to go into the right probiotics and make sure liver function and digestion is optimized so that it detoxifies and goes down the proper pathway.
And literally, we saw, I had a ladies' lab that we looked at yesterday, and she's doing the bioidentical hormones, and she just loves it because she's gone through hysterectomy in the past, and she has no hormones, and I can totally understand why that is a great option, because you now think you feel better. But when we looked at her lab, the testosterone, and this was on the low end of the cycle of doing the bioidentical hormones, she was actually due to get more, because they don't do them, very often. It
goes real high, and then it tapers off at the end of the month.
Right. Well, her testosterone was 3 times higher than what the high end should be on a woman.
She'll grow a mustache like mine if she keeps it up.
And I told her, I said, this is extremely high. I said it could be a correlation to why you're a high risk of heart attack or stroke, because we've seen that many times. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying it seems to be a correlation. And she said, oh, it's funny because my legs are swelling too. She goes, okay, we'll just reduce that. And I said, your progesterone's really low. So they're all over the place. So,
and she admitted she's really on edge mentally.
Yeah, so it's about having balance. It's about getting it back in sync. There are things you can do for PMS. We have a new product called Flash Ease that works great. So women that are going through the change and they just can't stand those hot flashes. I know what those hot flashes felt like. They're horrible. This product, I had a lady start it the other day. She said, I thought it was a fluke. She said the first pill, she said it was 8 hours before I had another flash. So that's a great thing. There's a product called DIM 150 that we use to help men and women balance out the bad estrogens. So there's hope out there besides just hopping on these bandwagons of getting these hormones. Short term maybe, but long term, I haven't seen a single person come here that go, my gosh, this is just great stuff long term.
After a hysterectomy, they've never said that.
Yeah, the other thing that they don't think about is having DHEA levels correct. It takes DHEA to make the other hormones. Most of the time, you don't ever see that run. There's other products like evening primrose oil that really help to balance out some of the hormones. That's a great thing for hot flashes as well, if you haven't tried that.
Because it has the GLA and the linoleic and oleic acid. Those are very anti-inflammatory.
And if your doctor is just giving you these things and nobody's checking lab, for you guys that are new to listening to us, the ones that are already listening to us know what we do, but basically don't guess at this. Don't just go, hey, I'm going to try that now. Let's see how that works. I mean, you can try stuff. We have no problem with you just trying things. But the problem is you're still guessing. You still don't know what's wrong.
And we like your doctors. They do a good job in a system that's broken. Now, I know plenty of them, and they're wonderful people, but they're frustrated also. And it's like, everybody needs a good MD, DO, something like that, nurse practitioner, but you also need nutrients that you can't get out of your food. So why not give your body a chance to be as healthy as it possibly can?
And we've literally seen, I think, one person that's come through here that actually needed bioidentical hormones because his pituitary didn't function and there was no way for him to ever create that. That is somebody that does need it. But these other ones are like, there's other ways around this that are a lot more healthy and you'll feel better in the long run doing it. But, if you haven't had lab, run our panels of where we run. Our minimum panels are 12 panels that we run. And then on the women's, we include all the hormones. On the men's, it's the testosterone with the free amount and the DHEA. When you go on our website to greenwisdomhealth.com, it's GWH1 for the women's. It's GWH2 for the men's.
Because women are always number one.
And then you're not guessing at what's wrong anymore. You can see if you're really balanced. I mean, that's how we saw that on this lab this lady had yesterday. And that's one reason we did this show. I'm just shocked at what people are walking around with, what they think feels good. They don't even know what feels good anymore because they've been so unbalanced for so long.
The zombie apocalypse is on us. People are walking around without hope, just barely struggling by without feeling good. And I know it's not the same exactly, but we see so many people that have been given hope and they say, oh my God, I have more energy, and oh my God this, and oh my God that. I got started as a chiropractor just supporting the musculoskeletal system, but it doesn't matter what your issue is. If it's inflammation and toxins, that adversely affects your musculoskeletal system. And once you fix that, then a lot of other things your body can use to get better. But people are walking around happier now, more animated.
I do want to say, if the women out there that buy this Progest-Avail, it's for women only. Men are not supposed to take that. So if you think, hey, that sounds really great, I'll add that into, don't do that, men. It's not made for you. Finally, a woman has a product that's actually all her own. So there's so many other ones for men out there, right? Uh-oh, I'm getting the stink eye.
I think that's one of the times I'm supposed to shut up and say, yes, ma'am.
So we're coming to the end of our show. Would you like to give people hope or tell them anything else that might be beneficial to them, since we don't want you to feel beat up, because we want you to realize how much we do appreciate you, and we appreciate all your questions you send us. And we are grateful that you are trying to get on the road and path to health, and we're here to help.
The thing I'd like to tell people is, quit thinking so hard about everything. Stop overanalyzing. Just go. Just do it. If it feels right, go with the flow. If it feels wrong, don't think about it anymore and walk away. Janet and I kind of have this saying, if it's not a heck yeah, it's a heck no. Quit going by how you feel, because you cannot judge your health by how you feel, at least not totally. Go back to faith instead of knowledge. You'll get further, and you can have a healthy, happy life, and that's pretty evidenced by the people that refer to us and the 5-star reviews and all that. It's not that we're great people, it's just that we work really hard and people follow us and they get much, much better. So life is worth living if you treat your body with respect.
So take the first step. Go to greenwisdomhealth.com, fill out the health survey, get started today, and we'll get you on the road back to good health. We'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You're only one step away from a life worth living.